Hello folks, my name is Cindy Dean and I am the instructor for EDU Psych 401 Educational Psychology. This video is meant to be an orientation to the Blackboard site to help you navigate it and know where to find things. So we're going to begin with the announcements page. This is the landing page. When you click on in Blackboard on this course, this is what you'll come to. And you can see here that I have a space holder for the video that I'm currently making for you. And I'll post that link just as soon as I'm finished with it. I'm going to call your attention to the toolbar on the left. This is where you're going to navigate throughout the course. We'll go on and look at about this course site. This basically gives you, background information on what's available in the course menu. It's kind of a nuts and bolts of the tools that can be used. I don't use all of these tools, but I left them all here. What I want to make sure you pay attention to is that the course content is where the core of your curriculum for this course is located. You do have a syllabus, but the syllabus is a very rough outline of each week. The course content is where you're going to get the meat of the course. Make sure you're using a Firefox for your browser. Internet Explorer and Safari do not play well with Blackboard. You will have problems. Every semester I get emails, cries of help from students can't figuring out why their discussion post disappeared or they can't submit a paper, and invariably it's because they're using the wrong browser. And the next click I'll show you where you can download this browser if you don't have it. Chrome works sometimes, but there have been some documented issues, so use it at your own risk. The last item here is resources for you if you're new to Blackboard. Even if you're not new to Blackboard, I urge you to explore this. The next thing we're going to look at is the syllabus. I want you to read this carefully, but particularly the expectations, but I'm going to go over some highlights of it with you now. You can download it and print it out if you want to. That's not necessary. You can read it online, but do read it, please. First of all, I want to explain that this course is cross-listed. It's cross-listed as EDU, which is Education and Psychology. Well, that makes perfect sense because it is an educational psychology course. But I want to make it clear from the beginning that it's geared towards education, the classroom, teaching, and students. Every semester I have someone email me and say, I didn't realize this was about teaching. Well, it is. So if that's not your cup of tea, then it may not be the course for you. But we are looking at the psychology of education. We're looking at the theorists and the psychologists who have informed what happens in schools. We're looking at behavioral issues and so forth. So here's the course description and here's the required text. Please make sure you have this book because you're going to begin with reading 2 chapters. This in 1 chapter, that's right. I'm still in the summer mode. I used to teach this in the summertime where we read 2 chapters a week, but nonetheless, it's pretty weighty reading, so I want to make sure that you are paying attention to this and getting on board with it. And don't put it off getting the text. The bookstore should have it without any problem, and there's a link up here to the bookstore so you can get it. The course outcomes are listed here, and you'll see that there are 3 general course outcomes, and then there are 3 main teaching standards. Because this is a course that many teachers take, it's important to have it aligned with the main teaching standards. And we'll go over these later on in the semester, but I'd like you to read them carefully. These are what I expect you to get out of this course. And each week I'll post an extensive weekly learning outcomes, things that you should be gathering from the reading and the video and the supplemental material and the discussion forums. Expectations and late policy. This is a 400 level course. Do keep that in mind. The work is significant and the writing is significant. The time investment is significant. While we don't meet in person, the course is set up to follow weekly course expectations. Assignments for this course are assigned on Thursdays. That's my designated meeting date for this course. The expectation is that you'll complete all the reading assignments, view any video lectures, informational documents, complete assignments, and participate in discussion forums by midnight on the following Wednesday. So let me repeat that. The class meets on Thursday. That's when you will access the folder for all of the information. You can look at it before then, but do make sure you check it on Thursdays because I'm apt to add things right up till Thursday at 9 o'clock. And then you're expected to complete all of that by the following Wednesday by midnight. You can read the rest of it here about failure to participate. But I also want to point out here the expectations for discussion forums. I grade everything on a rubric. And if you're not an education student, you may not have been exposed to rubrics before. So I'd like to have you take some time to think about what I'm expecting here. And I believe I posted the rubric here. Yep. Oh, it's not linked though. I'll make sure and link that for you so you can actually look at this rubric so you can see how you're graded. But what I expect is a dynamic discussion. In other words, access your coursework early. Get your reading done early so that you can begin participating in this discussion forum. I expect posts throughout the week. It doesn't mean you have to log on every day and do something, but I want you to be monitoring the discussion forum so that you can add to it and extend it. So for instance, if you're logging in and doing your discussion forum at 11 o'clock on Wednesday night that it's due, that's not helpful to you or to your peers. So make sure that you're getting the work done ahead of time and that then you're logging back in. So one of the things that I score you on is this timely intervals throughout the duration of the week. Okay. I also want some substantial and substantive discussion forums. I don't expect it to be, I agree or good ideas. I mean, that could be part of it, but I also want you to be academic here. I want you to support your statements with examples, experience, or reference. I know a lot of you have a great deal of experience in the public schools, and by all means bring that experience in. Anecdotal information is lovely, but do make sure that you're addressing the topic and that it's being connected somehow to the work of the week. When relevant, add to the discussion by including prior knowledge, work experiences, references, websites, resources, etc., giving credit when appropriate. And so some of the discussion forums are asking you to complete a task and then discuss that with your peers. Others are asking for your opinion, and those kinds of discussion forums, I'm expecting you to extend the conversation somehow. This is what an academic discussion does. And again, please make sure that it's free of grammatical or structural errors. And I will make sure that to get this live link for you. And when it came through, when I cut and pasted it from last time I taught it, it didn't link, so I'll make sure and do that. Your assignments are listed here. You've got weekly discussion forums, weekly homework discussion, because some of it includes you doing some work prior to the discussion forum. You'll have 5 quizzes. These are objective quizzes. It helps me to know that you're getting the highlights and the high points here. And they're only worth 5% each, I believe. Yes, 5% each, 25% of your grade, which is not insignificant. So it's important that you do the reading. Okay, so this is kind of a check for you to make sure you're reading and looking at those learning outcomes for the reading and making sure you're understanding each one of those things. And it's a way for me of understanding if you are understanding what you're reading. You'll do 2 case study analyses using the RIDE method, and I'll talk more about that later. Don't worry about that right now. You won't be doing these until 5 weeks or so into the semester, so there'll be plenty of time for me to go over this and give you some instruction, some models, and so forth. You'll be doing a literature review, okay? So this, again, if you've not done a literature review, don't worry. I'm going to give you plenty of instruction for that and some models for how to do that. It's very much a kind of a research paper. It's one part of a research paper. And then there'll be a final exam, which is a self-reflective self-analysis. So you can see the grading weighting here, and then you can see the grading scale. Academic integrity, I assume that you all understand what plagiarism is. If you don't, please read the code. Netiquette, online forums, online courses, that you have to have a concern for your register when you're typing in text, for the syntax, for any sort of emoticons you're using, or those sort of things. So it's not the same as a face-to-face class. You have to be a little more cognizant of the ways in which you're phrasing your responses. And here's a course outline, and again, it's a very rough sketch. It just gives you, the chapters and the forums, and this is much more developed in the course content. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here. Here's the information about me, where you can find me, my office hours, and so forth and so on. The course content is here. So this is where you're going to go to get the meat of the course. I expose 2 weeks at a time. I don't like to put all 15 weeks up because people start panicking and they start going way ahead and trying to do work that they shouldn't be doing yet. Remember, this is an accumulative class. You build knowledge for what's coming next. So you have your first 2 weeks here, and you'll see that they meet on Thursdays. So the first one is Introducing Educational Psychology and Reflective Teaching. I try to keep the weekly folders consistent. You'll get an item here that gives you the instructions for the week, what you should do, and I usually put it in the order in which you should do it. And then you'll have an item for each one of those, a place to do introductions, and these are linked. Anytime you see this little link up here, it means that it's linked. So you just click on it and it'll take you straight to the discussion forum. You have a video to watch here. It's a narrated PowerPoint over Chapter 1. I recommend you print it out with 3 or 6 slides to a page to take notes on. If you don't want to do that, that's fine, but I do recommend you keep some kind of a notebook. There's a ton of information in this class, and I want to make sure that you're absorbing that and not just reading through it. Okay, I don't need to see that notebook, but for your own self cognizance, you should do that. And then you're going to participate in Chapter 1, and you'll notice that I've also reminded you down here about keeping in mind the criteria for good online. Okay, so that's week 1. I'm going to take you back and just walk you through week 2. Again, you get your instructions for the week. You've got another video to watch, a narrated PowerPoint, another discussion forum to do, and then here are your learning objectives for week 2. And then you're going to take a quiz over weeks 1 and 2. It's 10 questions, multiple choice questions. Don't open it until you're ready to do it, because you can only open it once and you only have 30 minutes to complete. And I really don't want to get emails from people saying I opened it by mistake. Okay, so don't open it until you're ready to do it, until you feel you're ready to do it. It has to be done before midnight of Wednesday the next week. Okay, and then I'll show you over here the discussion forum, and it's not complete. It only has the first few weeks. You'll see the discussion, there's an introduction here, do your introduction. And I've already introduced myself, so you can read about me, giving you a little bit of information. I call myself Dr. Cindy because I don't like being called, I like to be called Cindy is what I like to be called. And then a place for questions and comments. Sometimes everybody has the same question, so if you post it here, I can answer it for everybody. But it's also a place to add additional resources or make comments. Here's your discussion forum 1 on critical thinking. Here's the number 2 on teaching metaphors. And by the way, I put the instructions for the discussion forums in the course folder, and I also put it in the discussion forum, or a truncated version sometimes. But note that you have to do something for this discussion forum before you do it. This one's asking you to find a claim about education, so you're going to have to do a little bit of work before you do the discussion forum. Okay. This one, too, is asking you to do a little bit of work, asking you to refer to a table in your textbook as a guide, and to create some metaphors. And then there are discussion forums up here for a few more of the weeks, but don't try to do them because you're not ready to do them yet. You have to do them the week that they're assigned. The case studies are here. I put the assignments all up with instructions. Please don't try to do these. I'm going to give you some more information about this, but you can see how I set these things up. And the literature review, again, you're going to get much more information on this. There's a video. This is last year's video. I may change it. I left it up here because I didn't want to just delete it, but I may do it over again for this year, depending. I've got to read through it and listen to it. So don't take everything here as like it's going to stay this way. Again, we're just beginning. We've got the first 2 weeks to work on. And then the final assignment, as you can see, there's nothing here yet. Well, sorry, I guess I was wrong. I thought I took that down. Oh, I took down the actual exam, but I left the pre-reading materials about metacognition. And again, we'll talk more about that, so don't worry about it. Don't get ahead of yourself. Those of you who are taking this as EDU and are going to be teachers will have to take the Principles of Learning and Testing exam, and this is some practice questions for that. By the way, this course is excellent preparation for that exam, and I hope that's the reason that some of you are taking this. And that's really it. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know. But other than that, I'm looking forward to the class, looking forward to working with all of you, and I'll be seeing you soon.